You're just a burden, Elena. Always have been. Her voice pierced me, sharper than the needle in my arm. I'm lying on this stiff bed, my hand trembling as I watch the drip slowly into my arm. The machines around me beep in a rhythm that should be comforting but isn't. My mother, Margot, stands by the window, her arms crossed, her face twisted into that expression I know too well, disgust mixed with irritation. My chest tightens, and tears burn behind my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. Not in front of her. Not again. My name is Elena, and I've spent 26 years trying to earn my mother's love, only to realize some people aren't capable of giving it. The hospital room smells like disinfectant and fear. Every beep of the monitor reminds me that tomorrow, they'll cut me open. Tomorrow, surgeons will try to fix what's broken inside. But how do you fix what's broken on the outside? How do you heal from a mother who sees you as nothing more than an inconvenience? A nurse walks in holding a clipboard, her smile fading when she sees the tension in the room. Ms. Elena, we need to discuss the hospital bill before your surgery tomorrow. Margot rolls her eyes dramatically, turning back to the window. Don't look at me. She got herself into this mess. My heart sinks into my stomach. I'm truly alone. The nurse clears her throat, glancing between us uncomfortably. Then she leans closer to me, her voice dropping to a whisper. Someone else already covered this, Ms. Elena. Everything stops. My breath catches. Who? If this story touches your heart, please like and subscribe. Your support means the world and helps me share more stories of hope and resilience. My hands shake as the nurse hands me the payment receipt. I stare at the words printed across the top, paid in full. But the name on the payment line isn't mine. It isn't Margot's either. It's someone I don't recognize, a name that means nothing to me yet somehow means everything. Who is this? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. The nurse shrugs kindly. The payment came through this morning. That's all I know, honey. Margot spins around, snatching the paper from my hands. Her eyes scan the receipt, her face going from annoyed to confused. I don't know any of these people, she mutters, almost to herself. Then she looks at me with suspicion. What have you been doing behind my back? I want to laugh. Behind her back? I've barely left the house in months because of my illness. My world has shrunk to these four walls and doctor's appointments. I have no secrets, no hidden life. At least, I didn't think I did. I don't know who paid it either, I say honestly. Margot throws the receipt onto my bed. Well, whoever it is, they're a fool. She grabs her purse. I have better things to do than sit here watching you feel sorry for yourself. The door slams behind her. The nurse squeezes my shoulder gently before leaving. I pick up the receipt again, studying every detail, searching for clues. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number, check the lobby. Jay. My heart races. Jay? Who is Jay? I shouldn't be walking. The pre-op tests left me exhausted, my legs feeling like they're made of wet sand. But curiosity drives me forward. I grip the pole for support, shuffling slowly toward the elevator. Each step sends a dull ache through my abdomen, reminding me why I'm here in the first place. The lobby is busy with visitors and patients. I scan the crowd, looking for someone, anyone, who might be waiting for me. Then I see him. A man in a dark suit stands near the entrance, his hands clasped in front of him. When our eyes meet, he nods and walks toward me. Elena? He asks gently. Yes, I manage. He extends his hand. I'm Jason. Your mother and I have mutual friends. Mutual friends? Margot doesn't have friends. She has people she uses and people she's burned. The idea that someone connected to her would help me feels wrong, like a puzzle piece that doesn't fit. I don't understand, I say. Jason glances around, then gestures to a quiet corner with chairs. Let's sit. You look pale. I lower myself carefully into a chair, and he sits across from me. He pulls a manila folder from his briefcase, his expression serious. I need to show you something. It's about your mother. He slides the folder across to me. My hands tremble as I open it. Inside are photographs, bank statements, transfer receipts, screenshots of text messages. My eyes blur trying to make sense of it all. Then I see it. Margot's name. Large sums of money transferred to personal accounts. Luxuries purchased while she claimed we had nothing. My stomach drops. I flip through page after page, each one revealing another layer of betrayal. Designer handbags purchased last month. A vacation to the Bahamas I never knew about. Jewelry, expensive dinners, spa treatments, all while she told me we couldn't afford my medical bills, that I was draining what little we had. How did you get these? I whisper. Jason leans forward. I'm a private investigator. Someone hired me to look into your mother's finances. He pauses. Someone who cares about you. My throat tightens. Who? I can't say yet, he says. But they wanted you to know the truth before your surgery. They wanted you to understand that you're not the burden she's made you believe you are. Tears spill down my cheeks before I can stop them. All these years, I believed her. Every cruel word, every dismissive comment, every time she made me feel small, I thought it was because I deserved it. Because I wasn't good enough. Because I was, in fact, a burden. But this changes everything. There's more, Jason says quietly. He reaches into the folder and pulls out a single piece of paper, folded in half. A note is written in neat handwriting. I'll show you how deep this goes, tonight. Tonight? I echo. Jason nods. Meet me at this address at 8. Come alone. Don't tell your mother. He hands me a business card with an address scribbled on the back. Before I can ask more questions, he stands. I know this is a lot. But you deserve the truth, Elena. All of it. He walks away, leaving me holding evidence of my mother's lies. 5 asterisk. Back in my room, I hide the folder under my mattress, my mind racing. The machines beep steadily beside me, a reminder that tomorrow I'll be in surgery. Tomorrow, they'll cut me open and try to fix what's broken inside. But how do you fix what's broken on the outside? How do you heal from a mother who sees you as nothing more than an inconvenience? I should rest, but sleep feels impossible. Instead, I stare at the ceiling, replaying every memory through this new lens. Every time she said we couldn't afford something. Every guilt trip about money. Every accusation that I was selfish for being sick. It was all lies. My phone buzzes. Another text from the unknown number, don't forget. 8 o'clock. You need to see this. I text back, who are you? The response comes quickly, a friend. Trust me. Night falls outside my window. A nurse brings dinner, but I can't eat. My stomach is twisted in knots of anger and anticipation. At 7:30, I change into regular clothes, careful not to disturb the four-port in my arm. I wrap a scarf around it to hide the medical equipment. The hospital is quieter at night. I slip out through a side exit, ordering a ride on my phone. The driver doesn't ask questions when I give him the address. As we pull away, I glance back at the hospital, illuminated against the dark sky. Then I see it. A car in the parking lot, headlights flashing twice. The same car that was parked outside our house earlier this week. Is someone following me? Is it Margot? 6 asterisk. The address leads to a small coffee shop on the edge of town. Through the window, I see Jason sitting at a corner table. But he's not alone. A woman with silver hair sits across from him, her face partially hidden by shadow. I push through the door, a small bell chiming overhead. Jason waves me over. As I get closer, the woman turns, and recognition hits me like a wave. Cassandra. My father's best friend from years ago, before he died. I haven't seen her since the funeral. Elena, she breathes, standing to embrace me. Look at you. You've grown so much. Cassandra? What are you doing here? She exchanges a look with Jason before gesturing for me to sit. I'm the one who hired Jason, she says simply. I've been watching your mother for a long time. And I couldn't stay silent anymore. My mind spins. Why? What does this have to do with you? Cassandra's expression hardens. Your mother didn't just steal from you recently. She's been doing it for years. Elena, do you remember your college fund? The one your father set up before he died? I nod slowly. Mom said it was gone. Used for medical expenses after Dad's death. That was a lie. Cassandra slides a document across the table. Your father left you $75,000 for college. Margot drained it within 6 months. She used it for herself, cars, clothes, trips. Everything but you. The betrayal cuts deeper than any surgery could. My father's final gift to me, stolen. My education, sacrificed so she could live in luxury. Why didn't you tell me sooner? My voice cracks. I tried, Cassandra says sadly. But Margot cut me off. She made sure I couldn't reach you. I've been gathering evidence ever since, waiting for the right moment. A shadow moves past the window. I glance up just in time to see a familiar silhouette. Margot. She followed me, I whisper urgently. Jason moves quickly, positioning himself between us and the door. But Margot doesn't enter. She stands outside, her phone pressed to her ear, her eyes locked on me through the glass. Her expression is unreadable, not angry, not surprised. Just calculating. After a moment, she turns and walks away, disappearing into the darkness. She knows, I say, my voice hollow. Cassandra reaches across the table, gripping my hand. Let her know. The truth is coming out whether she likes it or not. We spend the next hour going through everything. Every document, every transaction, every lie carefully dismantled and exposed. By the end, I feel numb. The mother I thought I knew, the one who was cold but at least honest about our financial struggles, never existed. She was a performance, a carefully crafted illusion designed to control me. What do I do now? I ask. You focus on your surgery, Cassandra says firmly. Get healthy. Then we deal with her. Jason nods in agreement. I've made copies of everything. She can't destroy the evidence. They drive me back to the hospital. As I lie in my bed that night, I expect anger to consume me. Instead, I feel something unexpected, calm. For the first time in my life, I see clearly. My mother doesn't define me. Her cruelty doesn't determine my worth. A nurse checks my vitals before I sleep. As she leaves, I notice something on my bedside table, a white envelope that wasn't there before. My name is written across the front in elegant script. Inside is a bank check. No signature. No note. Just a substantial amount and a single word, freedom. Morning arrives too quickly. The surgery is scheduled for 10. Nurses bustle around me, prepping and checking, their voices a distant buzz. I keep thinking about the check, hidden now in my bag. Who sent it? Jason? Cassandra? Dr. Morrison, my surgeon, stops by to explain the procedure one more time. I nod along, but my mind is elsewhere. I'm thinking about Margot, about the hospital bill that was mysteriously paid, about all these people working behind the scenes to protect me. Any questions? Dr. Morrison asks kindly. Just one, I say. Who paid my hospital bill? He consults his tablet. Let me check. It says here the payment came from Evelyn Carter. The name means nothing to me. I shake my head. I don't know anyone by that name. Interesting, he murmurs. Well, whoever she is, she's very generous. After he leaves, I immediately text Jason, who is Evelyn Carter. His response comes minutes later, your mother's sister. They haven't spoken in 20 years. I sit up so fast my head spins. Margot has a sister? In all my life, she never mentioned siblings. I always thought she was alone, that we were alone. But now this Evelyn appears, paying my medical bills, inserting herself into my life. Why? Another text from Jason, she wants to meet you. After your surgery. She has information about your mother that you need to hear. I text back, what kind of information? The kind that explains everything. Before I can respond, Margot walks in. She's dressed impeccably, as always, her makeup perfect. She surveys the room with cool detachment before her eyes land on me. Ready for your big day? She asks, her tone falsely sweet. As ready as I'll ever be, I reply carefully. She sits in the chair beside my bed, crossing her legs. I've been thinking, she says slowly. Maybe I was too harsh yesterday. You're still my daughter, after all. The words should comfort me. Instead, they send ice through my veins. This sudden change, this performance of concern, it's calculated. She knows something. Why the sudden change of heart? I ask, keeping my voice neutral. Margot's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Can't a mother worry about her child? You called me a burden yesterday. Her jaw tightened slightly. I was stressed. You know how I get. I do know. I know exactly how she operates, the manipulation, the guilt trips, the carefully timed kindness designed to keep me off balance. But now I see through it. The spell is broken. Sure, Mom, I say quietly. I appreciate it. She relaxes slightly, satisfied that I've accepted her act. We sit in uncomfortable silence until the nurses arrive to take me to pre-op. As they wheel my bed out, Margot follows, her hand resting on the railing as if she's a concerned parent. The performance continues. In the pre-op area, she finally leaves, claiming she needs to make some calls. The moment she's gone, I pull out my phone. Jason has sent me more information, old photographs, mostly. Images of Margot as a young woman, standing beside someone who looks remarkably like her. The caption reads, Margot and Evelyn, 1985. I zoom in on their faces. They're both beautiful, but there's something in their expressions, a tension, a distance even as they stand side by side. Sisters who never quite connected. Another photo shows them older, maybe in their 30s. They're at some formal event, both in evening gowns. But they're on opposite sides of the frame, deliberately avoiding each other. What happened between them? The anesthesiologist arrives, explaining the process. I nod along, but my thoughts are stuck on those photographs. On Evelyn, this mysterious aunt who's decided to intervene in my life after decades of absence. Count backward from 10, the anesthesiologist says gently. 10, 9, 8. The world fades to black. I wake up in stages, first voices, then blurred shapes, finally sharp pain that tells me I'm alive. The surgery is over. My hand moves instinctively to my abdomen, finding bandages and tenderness. Easy, a nurse says, adjusting my bed. You did great. Dr. Morrison will be by soon to check on you. Time becomes fluid. I drift in and out of consciousness, aware of people moving around me but unable to focus. At some point, I hear Margot's voice in the hallway, sharp and angry. I can't make out the words, but the tone is unmistakable, she's arguing with someone. When I finally wake fully, evening light streams through the window. Dr. Morrison is indeed there, checking my vitals with a satisfied expression. The surgery went perfectly, he tells me. We removed the mass, and preliminary tests look good. You'll need to stay a few days for monitoring, but you should recover fully. Relief floods through me. Thank you, I whisper, my throat dry. After he leaves, a nurse brings me water and adjusts my pillows. You had quite a few visitors while you were out, she says conversationally. Your mother was here, of course. And there was a woman who left this for you. She hands me an envelope. Inside is a simple card with an address and a message. When you're ready to hear the truth about your mother, come find me. Evelyn. I stare at the card, my heart pounding despite the pain medication. My mother's estranged sister, paying my bills, reaching out with promises of truth. What could be so devastating that it's kept them apart for 2 decades? A knock at the door interrupts my thoughts. I expect another nurse, but instead, Margot walks in. Her eyes immediately go to the card in my hands. Her face pales. Where did you get that? She demands. A nurse gave it to me, I say, watching her carefully. From someone named Evelyn. Margot's composure cracks. Her hands shake as she reaches for the card, but I pull it away. Who is she, Mom? No one, Margot says quickly. Too quickly. Just, someone from my past. It doesn't matter. She paid my hospital bill. Margot freezes. Color drains from her face, and for the first time in my life, I see genuine fear in her eyes. What? The mysterious payment, I continue, my voice stronger now. It was from Evelyn Carter. Your sister. She had no right, Margot whispers, more to herself than to me. No right to interfere. Why? I push. What happened between you two? Margot's expression hardens, her fear transforming into anger. That's none of your business, Elena. Family matters that happened long before you were born. But she's my family too, isn't she? My aunt. And you never told me she existed. Because she doesn't exist to us. Margot's voice rises. She made her choice 20 years ago, and I made mine. That's the end of it. A nurse peers in, concerned by the raised voices. Everything okay in here? Fine, Margot says through gritted teeth. She turns back to me, lowering her voice. We'll discuss this when you're released. For now, just focus on recovering. She leaves without another word, the door clicking shut with finality. I sink back into my pillows, exhausted but also energized. Every revelation, every piece of the puzzle, brings me closer to understanding the woman who raised me, and the lies she's built her life upon. I text Jason, I need to meet Evelyn. As soon as possible. His response is immediate. Already arranged. She'll visit tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll finally meet the woman who's been hiding in my mother's shadow all these years. 12 asterisk. The next morning, I feel stronger. The pain is manageable, and I can sit up without help. Nurses come and go, checking my incisions and adjusting medications. Dr. Morrison declares himself pleased with my progress. If you continue healing this well, you might go home earlier than expected, he says. Home. The word feels strange now. How can I go back to that house, to that life, knowing what I know? Around noon, there's a knock at my door. A woman enters, tall, elegant, with silver hair pulled into a neat bun. She has Margot's eyes but softer, kinder. She carries herself with quiet dignity. Elena, she says gently. I'm Evelyn. I study her face, looking for clues, for answers. Thank you, I manage. For the hospital bill. She waves it away. That was the least I could do. I should have done more, years ago. She pulls a chair close to my bed, sitting with the careful movements of someone who's thought about this moment for a long time. I'm sure you have questions. Why now? I ask. If you knew about everything, why wait until now? Evelyn's expression grows sad. Because I didn't know the extent of it until recently. I knew Margot and I had our differences. I knew she could be difficult. But I didn't realize how deeply she'd hurt you until Cassandra reached out to me 6 months ago. Cassandra contacted you? Yes. She was worried about you, about your health and your situation. She knew I had resources, and she hoped I might be willing to help. Evelyn pauses. I was already looking for a way back into your life. Cassandra gave me that opportunity. But why were you and Mom estranged in the first place? Evelyn takes a deep breath. That's a long story. And not a pleasant one. I have time, I say quietly. Evelyn nods, gathering her thoughts. Margot and I grew up poor. Really poor. Our parents did their best, but there was never enough. Margot hated it, the second-hand clothes, the empty refrigerator, the embarrassment at school. She swore she'd never be poor again. I can picture young Margot, already hardening against the world. When we were in our 20s, our grandmother died and left us an inheritance. Not a fortune, but enough to start fresh. We were supposed to split it 50-50. Evelyn's jaw tightens. Margot convinced me to let her manage the money. She said she knew about investments, that she'd make it grow for both of us. But she didn't, I guess. She took everything, Evelyn confirms. Forged documents, emptied the accounts, disappeared for 2 years. By the time I tracked her down, the money was gone, spent on her new life. She'd reinvented herself, new clothes, new friends, new story. She acted like I was the problem for asking for my share back. The pieces click into place. This is who Margot is, who she's always been. A woman who takes what she wants and justifies it to herself. I confronted her, Evelyn continues. We had a terrible fight. She said I was jealous of her success, that I'd always held her back. She told me to stay out of her life. So I did. For 20 years, I respected her wishes, even though it killed me to cut off all contact. But you kept track of her, I say. From a distance. I hired people to send me updates occasionally. That's how I knew when your father died. How I knew when you were born. How I knew. She trails off, pain evident in her eyes. How I knew she was treating you the same way she treated me. My throat tightens. You knew, and you didn't help? I tried, Evelyn says urgently. I sent letters, gifts, money. Margot returned everything unopened. She threatened legal action if I contacted you directly. I was trapped, Elena. I wanted to help, but she made it impossible. I believe her. I can see the regret written across her face. Over the next few days, Evelyn visits daily. She brings books, puzzles, and most importantly, stories, about my father, about my grandparents, about a family history Margot tried to erase. Each visit adds another layer of understanding, another piece of the woman I never got to know I could become. Margot visits too, but less frequently. When she does come, she's performative, bringing flowers and speaking in that false, sweet tone that used to confuse me. Now it just makes me tired. I play along, pretending I haven't seen through her mask, because I'm not ready for the final confrontation yet. One afternoon, Evelyn arrives with Jason. They exchange a look that tells me this visit is different. We've been investigating further, Jason says, opening his briefcase. And we found something significant. He spreads documents across my tray table, bank statements, property deeds, investment portfolios. My eyes widen as I scan the numbers. Your mother has been hiding assets for years, he explains. Multiple accounts under different names, properties listed through shell companies. She's not struggling financially, Elena. She's wealthy. Very wealthy. How wealthy? I ask, though I'm not sure I want to know. Conservative estimate? About $2 million in liquid assets, plus properties worth another $1 million. The room spins. $3 million. Well, she called me a burden. Well, she made me feel guilty for existing, for being sick, for costing money. There's more, Evelyn says quietly. She pulls out another document, my father's original will. Your father didn't just leave you a college fund. He left you half of everything. His life insurance, his pension, his savings. It should have been split equally between you and Margot. I scanned the document, my father's signature blurring through my tears. How much? Originally? About 400,000. With proper investment over the years, it would be worth significantly more now. She stole it all, I whisper. Yes, Evelyn confirms. She did. That night, I can't sleep. Anger courses through me, hot and righteous. Every memory is tainted now, every sacrifice I thought we were making together, every time I went without so we could survive. It was all lies. She was hoarding money while I wore thrift store clothes and skipped meals. The next morning, I'm discharged from the hospital. Evelyn offers to let me stay with her, but I decline. I need to face Margot. I need her to know that I know. Jason drives me home, parking at the curb. Are you sure about this? He asks. Yes, I say, though my hands shake. I'll be nearby if you need anything, he assures me. I walk up the familiar path to our house, except it's not our house, is it? Margot's house. Bought with money that should have been partly mine. I unlock the door with my key, stepping into the perfectly decorated living room. Everything is expensive, curated, designed to impress. How did I never see it before? Margot emerges from the kitchen, surprise flickering across her face. Elena. You didn't tell me you were being discharged today. I would have picked you up. Would you? I ask coolly. Her eyes narrow. What's that supposed to mean? I set my bag down slowly, deliberately. It means I know, Mom. I know everything. Her face drains of color. Know what? The money. Dad's will. The accounts, the properties, all of it. My voice is steady, controlled. I know you stole from me. From him. From everyone. Margot's mask drops completely. Her expression hardens into something cold and calculating. You don't know anything. I have proof, I say. Bank statements, legal documents, testimony from Dad's lawyer. You can't lie your way out of this. For a long moment, we stare at each other. Then, unexpectedly, Margot laughs, a bitter, hollow sound. And what are you going to do about it? You think you can fight me? You have no money, no resources, no power. Actually, I say quietly, I have all three. Margot's confidence wavers. What are you talking about? Evelyn has been helping me. She hired lawyers, investigators, accountants. We've documented everything you've done. Every forged signature, every hidden account, every lie. I take a step forward. And we're going to the authorities. You wouldn't dare, Margot hisses. I'm your mother. You're a thief, I counter. And you're going to face consequences. She lunges forward, grabbing my arm. You ungrateful little. I pull away, pain shooting through my still healing incisions. Don't touch me. Margot's chest heaves. Her perfectly applied makeup can't hide the panic in her eyes. Elena, listen to me. We can work this out. I can explain everything. You're just confused, still recovering from surgery. You don't understand how the world works. I understand perfectly, I say. You manipulated everyone who ever trusted you. You stole from your own daughter to fund your lifestyle. And you have the audacity to call me a burden. Everything I did for us. Margot shouts. To give us a better life. You mean to give yourself a better life, I correct. I was just collateral damage. Before she can respond, there's a knock at the door. Through the window, I see Jason and Evelyn, along with two people in business attire, the lawyers, I realize. They're here to explain your options, I tell Margot. You can cooperate, return what you stole, and possibly avoid criminal charges. Or you can fight, and we'll see you in court. Margot looks from me to the door and back again. For the first time in my life, I see her completely defeated, stripped of her armor of arrogance and lies. "This is how you repay me," she whispers. "After everything?" "After everything," I echo. "This is justice." The lawyers lay it out clearly. Margot faces potential charges of fraud, embezzlement, and forgery. The evidence is overwhelming. Her best option is to cooperate, return the stolen assets, sign legal agreements, and stay away from me permanently. Margot sits on her expensive couch, surrounded by the luxuries she bought with stolen money, and I watch her crumble. She tries arguments, tears, threats. Nothing works. The lawyers are professional and unmoved. "You have 48 hours to decide," the lead attorney says, packing up his briefcase. "After that, we file with the authorities." After they leave, it's just Margot and me. She won't look at me, her gaze fixed on the floor. "Did you ever love me?" I ask quietly. The question hangs in the air. Finally, she looks up, and what I see in her eyes isn't love or regret. It's resentment. "I loved who I thought you'd be," she says. "Strong, successful, someone who could help me maintain this life. Instead, you were weak. Sick. Expensive." The words should hurt, but they don't. They're just the final confirmation of what I already knew. Margot is incapable of loving anyone but herself. "Goodbye, Mom," I say, and walk out. Evelyn is waiting outside. She wraps me in a hug, and I let myself cry. Not for Margot, but for the mother I never had, the childhood I lost, the years wasted trying to earn love that was never available. "Come home with me," Evelyn says gently. "Let's start over." I nod, unable to speak. Jason drives us to Evelyn's house, a beautiful, warm space filled with photos and books and life. My new home. My new beginning. That night, as I settle into the guest room that Evelyn insists will be mine as long as I need it, I receive an email. It's from Margot's lawyer. She's agreed to cooperate. She'll return the money, sign the documents, everything. I should feel triumph. Instead, I just feel tired. The next few weeks are a blur of legal proceedings. Margot's assets are frozen while accountants sort through the mess of her finances. It turns out she was even worse with money than we thought. Despite stealing hundreds of thousands, she'd spent almost everything, living beyond even her inflated means. The properties are mortgaged to the limit. The fancy car is leased. It's all facade. She was one bad month away from bankruptcy, Jason tells me, shaking his head. All that money, and she managed it terribly. There's a grim satisfaction in that. But mostly, I'm focused on moving forward. Evelyn helps me find a small apartment, something I can afford once the settlement comes through. She insists I don't need to rush, that I can stay with her, but I need independence. I need to prove I can stand on my own. Dr. Morrison clears me to return to light work. I'd been a graphic designer before my illness forced me to quit, and I reach out to old contacts. Several offer freelance projects. Slowly, piece by piece, I rebuild my life. One afternoon, I'm at a coffee shop working on a design when I see her. Margot. She's across the street, loading boxes into a car. She looks smaller somehow, diminished. Our eyes meet through the window. For a moment, neither of us moves. Then she looks away and continues loading boxes. I realize she's moving. Leaving. Running away from the wreckage of her life. I should feel something, vindication, pity, anger. Instead, I feel nothing. She's just a stranger now, someone who used to have power over me but doesn't anymore. I turn back to my laptop and continue working. 6 months pass. Spring arrives, bringing with it a sense of renewal. My health improves steadily. The surgeons got everything, I'm cancer-free. Every checkup brings good news, and I start to believe in a future I wasn't sure I'd have. The legal settlement finally comes through. After lawyers' fees and returning what Margot had already spent, I receive about $200,000, my father's legacy, finally returned to me. It's not the fortune it should have been, but it's enough. Enough for security, for possibilities, for dreams. Evelyn and I have grown close. She's not trying to replace Margot or be a mother figure. She's something better. A friend, a mentor, a safety net. She tells me stories about my father that Margot never shared, and I feel like I'm getting to know him for the first time. He would be so proud of you, Evelyn says one evening over dinner. The way you handled everything. Your strength. I think about the scared girl in the hospital bed 6 months ago, the one who believed she was a burden. That girl is gone. In her place is someone I'm still getting to know. Someone stronger, braver, more complete. I start volunteering at a support group for people dealing with toxic family relationships. Sharing my story helps others, and their stories help me. We're all survivors, all learning to rebuild from the ashes of families that failed us. One night, I receive an email from an unknown address. The subject line reads, "I'm sorry." I almost delete it. But curiosity wins. I open it. It's from Margot. The email is long, rambling, full of excuses and justifications. She explains her childhood poverty, her fear of returning to that life, her conviction that she was doing what was necessary. She never quite apologizes, not really, but there are hints of regret buried in the defensive paragraphs. She's living in another state now, she writes. Working as a receptionist. The money is gone, the property's sold to pay debts. She's starting over, though she doesn't say it quite that way. She talks about rebuilding and refocusing priorities in that careful language people use when they can't admit they've failed. At the end, she writes, "I hope someday you can understand. I was doing my best with what I had." I read it 3 times, looking for genuine remorse, for acknowledgement of the pain she caused. It's not there. Even now, even after losing everything, Margot can't truly see herself clearly. She's the victim in her own story, misunderstood and maligned. I don't respond. There's nothing to say. Some people aren't capable of the growth or self-reflection required for true reconciliation. Margot is one of them. Instead, I forward the email to my therapist. Yes, I'm seeing a therapist now, working through decades of manipulation and emotional abuse. She'll help me process it in our next session. Then I delete it and close my laptop. Outside my apartment window, the city glows with evening lights. I can hear neighbors chatting on the street, life happening all around me. I'm part of it now, no longer isolated by Margot's control or my own illness. My phone buzzes. A text from Evelyn, "Dinner tomorrow? I'm making that pasta you love." I smile and type back, "Absolutely. Thank you for everything." Her response is immediate, "You never have to thank me. Family takes care of family." Real family, I think. Not the biology that binds you to toxic people, but the chosen connections that actually nurture and support you. A year after my surgery, I'm thriving. My design business has grown enough that I've hired 2 freelancers to help with overflow work. I've moved into a larger apartment with big windows that let in morning light. I've started dating someone, carefully, slowly, learning to trust again. Evelyn and I meet for brunch every Sunday. It's become our tradition, a sacred space where we talk about everything and nothing. Sometimes Cassandra joins us, the 3 of us forming a chosen family that's stronger than any blood tie. I rarely think about Margot anymore. When I do, it's with a distant sort of pity. She's still out there somewhere, probably still convinced she was right, still unable to see how her choices shaped her loneliness. One Sunday, Cassandra brings news. "I heard from an old friend who ran into Margot," she says carefully. "Apparently she's asking about you. Wanting to know how you're doing." "What did you tell them?" I ask. "Nothing," Cassandra assures me. "Your life is your business." I nod, grateful. I don't owe Margot updates or forgiveness or anything else. I gave her 26 years. That's enough. Evelyn squeezes my hand across the table. "You get to choose who's in your life now," she says gently. "Remember that." I do remember. Every day, I wake up and choose differently than Margot did. I choose honesty over manipulation. Connection over isolation. Growth over stagnation. My phone rings, it's my partner, calling to confirm our evening plans. I answer with a smile, making plans for a future that's entirely mine. This is what freedom feels like. 2 years post-surgery, I'm invited to speak at a conference about overcoming adversity. Standing backstage, I'm nervous. Public speaking isn't my strength, but I'm also proud. I've come so far from that hospital bed, from that scared girl who believed she was worthless. I walk onto the stage. The lights are bright, the audience attentive. I tell my story, not all of it, not the most painful parts, but enough. I talk about toxic relationships, about health crises, about finding strength you didn't know you had. The moment everything changed, I say, was when I realized I didn't have to accept someone else's definition of me. My mother called me a burden. But I wasn't. I'm not. None of us are. The audience applauds. Afterward, people approach me with their own stories, their own struggles. I listen, I encourage, I connect. This is healing too, turning pain into purpose. That night, lying in bed, I think about younger me. What would I tell her if I could go back to that hospital room? I'd tell her it gets better. That the surgery is just the beginning of healing, physical and emotional. That she's stronger than she knows. That family isn't always blood, and love isn't supposed to hurt. I'd tell her to hold on, that there are people waiting to love her properly. That she deserves every good thing coming her way. Most importantly, I'd tell her she's not a burden. She never was. 3 years after everything fell apart, I'm building something new. Evelyn and I have started a foundation together. Supporting people dealing with both serious illness and toxic family situations, providing resources, counseling, and financial assistance. We call it the Second Chance Foundation, because everyone deserves one. Our first scholarship recipient is a young woman named Maya, whose parents kicked her out when she got sick. She reminds me so much of myself, scared but fierce, hurt but hopeful. Watching her walk across the stage at her graduation, I feel my father's presence, like he's proud of what I've become. Margot has tried to contact me a few times over the years. A birthday card. An email. Once, a letter that arrived forwarded from my old address. I don't open them. I don't need to anymore. That chapter is closed. Sometimes people ask if I miss her. The honest answer is no. I miss the idea of having a mother, the fantasy of what that could have been. But I don't miss Margot specifically, her cruelty, her manipulation, her fundamental inability to love beyond herself. Instead, I built a new family. Evelyn, Cassandra, Jason, my partner, the friends I've made through the foundation. These are my people, the ones who show up, who care genuinely, who celebrate my victories and comfort my losses. This is what I deserved all along. 5 years later, I receive an unexpected call. It's a lawyer I don't know, informing me that Margot has passed away. A heart attack, sudden and fatal. She was alone when it happened. I sit with this information for a long time. I should feel something, grief, relief, vindication. Instead, there's just a dull ache, like a bruise I forgot was there until I pressed on it. Are you okay? My partner asks, wrapping arms around me. I don't know, I admit. I thought I'd feel more. The funeral is small. I attend out of a sense of closure, not obligation. A handful of people are there, co-workers, neighbors, no one close. Margot died as she lived, surrounded by acquaintances but no real connections. I stand at her grave after everyone else has left. There's so much I could say, but what's the point? Margot couldn't hear me in life, she certainly can't now. I forgive you, I finally whisper. Not because she earned it, but because I need to let it go. All of it. The anger, the hurt, the years of wondering why I wasn't enough. I forgive you, and I'm letting you go. The wind picks up, carrying my words away. I turn and walk back to where Evelyn waits by the car. "Ready?" she asks gently. "Yes," I say. "Let's go home. Today, I'm healthy, happy, and whole." The surgery saved my life physically, but the events that followed saved me in every other way. I learned that sometimes the people who are supposed to love us most are the ones who hurt us deepest. But I also learned that family is what you make it, that strength comes from surviving, and that every ending is really a beginning. I still volunteer with the Second Chance Foundation. I still meet with Maya and our other scholarship recipients, watching them bloom into their potential. I still have Sunday brunch with Evelyn, still laugh with Cassandra, still build a life that's authentically mine. Sometimes I think about that moment in the hospital when the nurse said someone had paid my bill. That was the crack in Margot's facade, the beginning of truth breaking through years of lies. I'm grateful for it now, for Evelyn's intervention, for Cassandra's courage, for Jason's investigation. They gave me the tools to free myself. People ask how I forgave her, how I moved past it all. The truth is, forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's about deciding you won't let it define you anymore. Margot doesn't define me. Her cruelty doesn't shape my worth. Her lies don't determine my truth. I am Elena. I am a survivor. I am enough. And I am free.